HCZ series mini gantry type CNC flame plasma cutting machine installation step. One. Measure the levelness of foundation and make marks. Have a preliminary understanding of the foundation levelness. 2. Will be subject to the primary side of the foundation. Put away the round steps of prominent plate in accordance with the both sides of the track, and distance roughly is 3 holes. And then put the tracks on the plate. The plate again according to the both sides of the track, and distance roughly is 3 holes. But join the 2 tracks, and so on. Then, secondary side is same as primary side operation. 3. After fixing backing plates, place the rail on it. Connect and pre-tighten the uppermost holes of the backing plates at both sides of the rail. Adjusting the rail downward with M12x35 inner hexagon screws, spring washer and flag washer. Connect the holes at both sides of the backing plates using M12x35 inner hexagon screws, adjusting the rail right or left. Finally, connect the holes at both sides of the rail using M10x30 inner hexagon screws, adjusting the rail upward. 4. Fix both sides of the rail using wire or steel wire with the aid of fixture and adjust the straightness of the rail. Then, place the welding rods of the same specifications in the middle between wire or steel wire and the rail. Next, make a rough adjustment of the rail. After the rails at both sides are adjusted well, determine the center distance of rails according to the span marked on the foundation drawing. Finally, weld and fix the backing plates and foundation. 5. Make an adjustment starting from the rails of the main side, with the top rails as reference. Place a level gauge in the middle of rails, adjusting the screws on the backing plates, and observe until the bubble inside the level gauge is in the middle position and rails are leveled. Tighten all screws. Then, adjust the second piece of rail. Take note that the second piece of rail shall be on the same level with the joint of the first piece of rail. And both sides of the rail shall be on the same plane, and so on. After all rails are leveled, tighten the rail joint using a tie rod so as to obtain higher strength at the joint. 6. After all rails are firmly fixed, install racks starting from one end of the main edge. Connect the face of the racks with holes and grooved face on the rail groove. The racks shall align with the upper surface of the rail groove. Then, tighten the racks using M5x16 inner hexagon screws. Follow the same step for the second piece. Tighten racks first. Then, block one piece of rack at the joint and lock racks using a wood hammer to make rack gaps match motor gears. Finally, tighten the racks and so on. 1. Dismantle the external package of the frame and the enclosure at both sides of CNC cutting machine cross beams. Then, extend the motors at both sides towards the outside. 2. Place the eccentric wheels under the primary end beam at both sides of the rail. Align the 4 traveling wheels and place them on the rails at both sides. Then, place eccentric wheels against rails using wrenches. Don't tighten too excessively. Upon tightening, push the crossbeam with hands to the maximum travel at both sides and check if there is any blockage. If no, tighten the motor gears at both sides against racks. 1. Find the holes for installation of longitudinal D and a slot bracket at the left of main end beam, and fix it with M8x25 inner hexagon screws. 2. Place the channel steel section for installation of D groove on the ground. The 4 holes at both sides of the D are fixed together with the holes of the channel steel. Take note that only 2 holes are needed for each piece of D at the joint. The rest can be done in the same manner. Upon tightening, place the D at the side of the main end beam. Finally, fix the longitudinal D inside the hauling chain and D with 6x30 inner hexagon screws and 6 screw cap. 1. Install the plasma cutting torch into the lamp fastener and adjust the height, verticality on the front and back, and verticality on the right and left. Lock the clamp with retaining screw. The operation of flame is identical with plasma. 1. Connect the power wire inside the vertical drag chain and the control cabinet. Insert the oxygen hose into the adapter plate joint and fasten with hose clamps. Then, insert the fuse tube into the adapter plate joint and fasten with hose clamps. 2. When the machine is equipped with plasma, connect a 380 voltage power source with 3-phase 4-wire system for plasma power source. Connect the X6 end of the arc voltage acquisition line and the control cabinet. Connect the 2 joints of the other end to the plasma power supply. Fix the oil-water separator on the plasma power supply, with one end connected to the air source and the other end to the plasma power supply. 4. Make the control cabinet, frame, and plasma power supply grounded in a reliable manner. Install the flame cutting nozzle on the flame cutting torch. HCZ series mini gantry type CNC flame plasma cutting machine procedures. 1. Connect the power wire of the equipment to AC 220 voltage. Press the key of Start to enter the main menu of the starting interface. Then, keys F1 to F7 will appear on the main menu. Press the functional key as appropriate. 2. The steps for operating controlling equipment by manual are introduced as follows. Press F2 by manual on the main menu. Up, down, left, right to move X and Y up, down, left and right, and F up and F down to control the moving speed and make the equipment travel. 3. Some basic parameters to be modified and set are explained as follows. In case of flame cutting, press F4 on the main menu to enter the interface for parameter setting and F3 on the lower part of the menu to set flame cutting parameters. The preheating delay time is selected as follows: 100 units, second. The preheating time is adjustable during the operation process and other factors may not be adjusted. Press F7 to save and F5 to control flame 0. Plasma 1. 0 means unselected and 1 means selected. Set the parameter to 0, meaning the cutting process has been set to flame cutting. Finally, press F7 to save and ESC to return to the main menu. Flame setting is completed. In place of plasma cutting, press F4 on the main menu to enter the interface for parameter setting. F5 to control the first row, 1 for plasma mode, and F7 to save. Then press F4 plasma to set plasma cutting parameters. Select arc voltage testing as 1 and cornering off heightening distance mm to 00010 mm. Other parameters will not be adjusted. Finally, press F7 to save and ESC to return to the main menu, and then plasma setting is completed. 4. There are two cases to call in graphs: system graphs and U-disk graphs. In case of calling in of system graphs, press F6 Graph Database on the main menu to enter the Graph Database interface. Select the graph needed and press Enter. Set the dimensions of the graph and then submit F6 to submit and ESC to return to the main menu. The graph selected may not be seen from the F1 Auto and F4 graph. In case of U-disk reading in, press F3 on the main menu to edit, F6 for U-disk, and F1 to input. The preset file name will appear. Press Enter to confirm and F3 to save. Then, press Enter and then ESC to return to the main menu. Press F1 for Auto and F4 to view the graph. Auto cutting procedures. Press F1 on the main menu for Auto, X for blank line and green key to start. Check if the graph travels according to the normal route. Meanwhile, check the dimensions of the sheet. Align the sheet and press X to cancel the blank line after confirming it is correct. Press F4 for graph and the green key for cutting. In case of plasma cutting, height should be controlled by arc voltage controller. The step is described as follows. 1. First, there are 4 parameter setting keys on the panel of arc voltage controller, namely Menu, Enter, Up and Down. In case of plasma cutting, 3 base parameters need to be set. Press Menu to select the function required under the status of Standby, and press Enter to modify parameters. 1. Setting of arc voltage. Arc volt. Set different arc voltage according to the thickness of the sheet. Press F up and F down to adjust arc voltage. Arc voltage has been set before X factory and will not need to be set in normal cases. 2. Piercing time. Peer time in 0.1 second. Press F up and F down to adjust the piercing time. The duration may be set according to the thickness of the sheet. 3. IHS time. IHS time in 10 ms means the height of the rear part of the cutting torch when it touches the sheet. The duration may be set according to the thickness of the sheet. 2. 2 manual button is arc test, arc starting test button, and auto hand, heightener manual heightening, and auto heightening toggle button. 1. When flame cutting, check oxygen hose and gas hose if it's connected. Press the button of oxygen cutting on the panel. Observe the solenoid valve on the beam if it's on act. Then, press the ignition button on the panel and adjust the flame to be neutral flame. Next, check the flame cutting preheating time in F4 button and set to maximum 100 ms. Cutting speed can be determined by the flame size and thickness of steel sheet. 2. When plasma cutting, check plasma power source if it's energized, air pressure if it's on alarm, current if it's adjusted, positive wire if it's connected, facing workpiece, Adjust the distance between torch nozzle and workpiece. Adjust cutting speed and arc voltage size. 3. In case of large cutting seam or no penetration into the sheet, check the flame pressure and plasma power arc voltage, or replace the cutting nozzle and consumables. 1. Flame cutting. 2. Plasma cutting. Vice versa. 1. Installation of FastCam software. 1. Auto and manual generation of CNC programming codes for a single graph in CAM. 2. Programming multiple special processes of graphs in CAM. 3. Manual testing of single graph in nest. 4. Manual nesting of multiple graphs in nest. 5. Continue cutting many same parts by single graph. 6. Calibration. Nested graphs in plot. One. For example, when the equipment operates for a long time, the system may halt and the equipment may run slowly, which is normal. However, you may turn off the equipment to make the system cool down. If the system hasn't recovered in 3 to 5 minutes, press GG3 on the panel of the system. Then, the following options will appear. 1. File formatting. 2. System parameter initiation and selection of English. Then, select 1 to clear all files saved in the system so as to increase the operating speed of the system. 2. During operation, test the voltage and clean the pressure and plasma power oil-water separator. 3. If the groove is mechanically blocked in traveling, check if the motors at both sides are blocked.